Islam, Islam, Islam. And I'm back again. And of course, it's another edition of The Moorish Light Continues. The Revolution is a podcast. Um, and of course, uh, we always begin, we're going to begin, or start beginning, with the Moorish American prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. So, first I rise giving praises to the Almighty God Allah, the causeless cause, and the rootless root through which all things have come. I give honor to Prophet Noble Drew Ali in the first, second, and third form. I give honor to this new dispensation, August the 1st, 1928, 2:52 p.m. I give honor to my teacher. I give honor to the prophet, the founder. I give honor to he who continued his works, Prophet Noble Drew Ali reincarnated, Grand Sheikh Gibbonsdale. I give honor to my teacher, Prophet Noble Drew Ali III, Grand Sheikh Richardson Dingle-Eel, as well as to his brother, Grand Sheikh Timothy Dingle-Eel hyphen Prophet Noble Drew Ali, who carried on the modern day duties of Moses and Aaron. I give honor to my home temple, 1055 North Milton Avenue, as well as to the Royal Council at 1055 Milton Avenue. And also, I like to give honor to Grand Sheik, Supreme Grand Sheik, and Sheikess Pratha Eel. And once again, welcome to the Moorish Light Continues for some divine and national instructions. And we will begin our program by reading from the Holy Quran of Mecca. Um, this is Surah 31, and this surah should be special, or we should be able to relate to this particular surah. This is Surah 31. It's called Luqman. Luqman is known to be the father of fables. Before there was an Aesop, there was a Luqman. And he was so respected until he received a whole surah in the Holy Quran of Mecca, which has to be such a great honor. So we're going to, and you need to look him up and find out who Luqman was. So we're going to go reading, this is Surah 31, and we're going to read ayats 5 and 6. And it says, there are on, and in parenthesis, true guidance from their Lord ones who will prosper. And let me see if I can just make it a little larger for you. They get the blessings because they submit their will to Allah's will and receive his guidance. They will do well in this life from the highest standpoint and will reach their true goal in the future. So there's a saying, there's no failure for the human soul. So if you truly submit your will to Allah, more science becomes a life support. It becomes nourishment for your body, your soul, and your spirit. But you have to first be humble enough to submit your will to Allah, which is truly the definition of a Muslim. Ayat 6 says, there are among men those who purchase idle tales. They want to sell you something. They got a story to tell. Sometimes they just want to tell you don't come to the temple because, there's some temple moles over there and they don't know what they're talking. without knowledge or meaning, to mislead men from the path of the law, and throw ridicule on the path. For such there will be a humiliating penalty. Because there are people who try to tell me you can learn more science without going to the temple. And I so beg to differ. I so beg to differ. You can assume you know more science, but you don't get true more science until you have taken that first step of humility, which means you are entitled to the name of faithful. That's the first step of humility. It means you have emptied your cup and you are now willing to allow prophet and Allah to fill your cup up. Not only have you emptied it, you have cleaned your cup so that you are able to receive. And it's more science for a reason. A systematic body of knowledge. It says life is taken seriously by men who realize the issues that hang upon it. But they are men of a fibulous turn of mind who prefer idle tales to true realities, and they justly rebuke here. In the time of the prophet, there was a pagan, Nadir ibn al Harith, who preferred Persian romance to the message of Allah and turned away ignorant men from the preaching of Allah's word. And I'm going to use this scenario. Um, they're the most who want to go back in Spain and they want to talk about Spain and they want to say things like, we are Moors. No, we are Moorish Americans. Moors is a historical term. But when we talk about our nationality and who we are Moorish Americans. Someone said, well, we born Moors. Of course we are. But you also born with that Negro, black, and colored mentality and living by those principles. So if you don't change your mentality, you might call yourself a Moor, but what are you actually living and practicing? Clean the cup from the inside out. That's essential in more science. So, stop sharing. Um, and I'm going to go back to me. So, today, our topic is more science is not an alternative, it is a solution. So, if you see my hands, I talk with my hands. So, more science is not an alternative. It's not an alternative to Christianity. It's not an alternative to black. It's not an alternative to civil rights. It's just not an alternative. It is a solution. And so we're going to go through some quotes of the prophet because I thought that would be the best way to do this. And I don't know if I can get this page up, but we're going to start with Act 6. Because our key word here today, because we're going to focus this around a word, that word is redeemed. So I'm going to share one more time. Share once again. We're going to look at this word redeem. And I'm going to go to one that actually applies to us, and that would be number 6. Up to obtain the release or restoration of such as from captivity, and they say here by paying a ransom, and we're going to say pay compensation. And let me let you look at it because sometimes people think that it says one says to make up for, make amends, offset fault or shortcoming, to exchange bonds, trading stamps, to buy or pay off, clear by payment, and in our case that would be compensation and not reparations. Synonyms: repurchase, regain, reclaim. So we get to see that the word redeem is just basically to restore. And so we're going to listen to how the prophet uses the word redeem in some portions of his lessons. So I'm going to stop sharing this for a second because I want to talk to you eye to eye. Um, and so we have first first quote I said will come from Acts 6, and that says, and when we get to the middle of Acts 6, it says, but this is a new era of time now. Of course, that new era of time is August the 1st, 1928 to 52 p.m. It says, but this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. So a free national name, that's very relevant. That's very important. And also another key word, to be recognized, not fellowship, but to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people. What? To redeem his people from their sinful ways. So that's our first redemption, redeeming from those sinful ways. What are those sinful ways? Clinging to names and principles that delude to slavery. Then we're going to go to the prophet Ali speaks to the nations. He says, if you have race pride and you love your race, join the Moorish Science Temple of America and become a part of this divine movement. Then you will have the power to redeem your race because you will know who you are and your forefathers were. Because where there is unity, there is strength. Together we stand, divided we fall. Now, a lot of us assume that the prophet's talking about being divided amongst ourselves, but he's actually talking about being divided among from amongst our forefathers. And I gotta step and get one thing. So he's talking about linking ourselves back to our forefathers, going back to our forefathers' state of mind. He's not talking that because a lot of us we get physical with it, but it's a mental thing. We're in mental slavery. So most of what we need to apply has to apply to how we think and what we think. It cannot just be about putting on the Moorish clothes, you know, walking around doing whatever, but it has to be how you think. The prophet came to restore our minds, redeem our minds. So he goes on to say, come, good people, because I, the prophet, sent to redeem this nation from mental slavery, which you have now. Need every one of you who think that your condition can be better. This is a field open to strong men and women to uplift the nation and take your place in the affairs of men. And you will find when you come into the Moorish Science Temple, some creative things start happening for you and to you. I can go back in time. I remember one point in time, I was a vegan. I was selling herbs, helping people get well. I don't know what happened to her, but anyway, that that was one of my missions. Talking to radio stations, calling two-way talk programs. I had something to talk about now because before I really didn't have anything to talk about. A bunch of nonsense. But once I stepped into the Moorish Science Temple, I learned some things that I could do. I learned some things that I could do. Moorish Science helped me earn 3 degrees. And I'm still planning to use those 3 degrees for Moorish Science. But then, a lot of us, we come in and we forget there's much work to be done to uplift humanity. He says, come, good people, Because I, the prophet, sent to redeem this nation from mental slavery which you have now. Need every one of you who think that your condition can be better. This is a field open to strong men and women to uplift the nation and take your place in the affairs of men. That means we each, as individuals, have accountability. And please understand this. Don't come into the Moorish Science Temple thinking that Prophet Noble Drew Ali is dead. Don't do that. Because you have to see Prophet Noble Drew Ali in your mind with these lessons. That's how you meet the prophet. Learning these lessons. And when you as you learn your lessons, your things will start to grow and prosper for you. And I'm sure I could get a witness if I went and looked for one. I don't even think I have to look. They probably would volunteer. It says the prophet therefore sending out a divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. So he redeems us so that one we can be protectors, so that we could be protectors of this divine and national movement. It's so, and I must say I don't know if we did a great job at that yet. It's not too late to get it right, but we have a job to do. We have a job to do. Because see, you got a lot of noise out here. A lot of empty barrels making a lot of noise, trying to put more science on it. But once again, if you're not entitled to the name of faithful, you're not in the Moorish Science Temple. Because the Moorish Science Temple is governed by laws. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. What are those sinful ways? See, some of us, when we think sin, we think killing, murdering, stealing. But the sin lies in the thought. So if you think you are Negro, black, colored, darky, coon, shine, melanated, saturated, whatever you're thinking of these days, your thoughts are wrong. Your thoughts are wrong. So we have to definitely work on perpetuating, protecting, and changing our mindset. Mental slavery has to be attacked from a mental perspective. It says the sin lies in the thought because you've already enjoyed it in your mind, and all you do is manifest it physically. So the sin does not lie in the actual killing. The fact that you thought you wanted to kill somebody is the sin. The fact that you thought you wanted to remain black is the sin. So so the Moorish Science Temple comes to teach you how to exercise your thoughts. So let's move a little further. I, the prophet, was prepared by the great God Allah to warn my people to repent from their sinful ways. Those sinful ways just keep coming up. And go back to the state of mind of their forefathers, divine and national principles. Now we know our divine principles are love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. But how do we manifest those divine principles? Because we can say, some people, when they say love, they go somewhere, they go to the left or maybe to the right. But love in this instance is after you have submitted your will, then you become obedient to the law. Obedience is greater than sacrifice. You might put $1,000,000 up on that table, but if you still clinging to the names and principles that delude to slavery, what is it worth? It says, I, the prophet, was prepared by the great God of law to warn my people to repent from their sinful ways, go back to the state of mind of their forefathers, divine and national principles, that they will be law abiders. Look at that. Law abiders. And receive. Ups. Now, not only are we going to be redeemed, we're going to receive their divine rights as citizens. So if you're going to receive your divine rights as citizens, it must mean at some point in time you did not have that. Now, clearly, citizens, all citizens have civil rights. But those who claim citizenship claim civil rights as the method to gain it. But citizenship gives you civil rights. But when you're outside the party and you're trying to justify a historical lie, you have to keep creating things that will make it work, or creating situations and scenarios to make us believe that it's working. A lot of us are upset with President Trump because he's snatching crumbs. And I'm not saying I did not benefit from some of them crumbs, because I'm sure I did. But the point is that as long as we get crumbs, we're going to be satisfied with crumbs. So it is time that we change our mindset to something bigger, broader. When you come into the Moorish Science Temple, you're going to create a vision. You should have a vision as to what it is that you would love to accomplish. Set down, write some objectives and goals for yourself. One of the first things every Moorish American should know is Act 6. If you walk up on me, I'm going to ask you that. Can you say Act 6? And I ask you that for a reason, because that is your educational foundation. And if you don't know it and you can't explain it historically, constitutionally, divinely, there's a problem. There's a problem. So, let's move a little further. They are to claim their own free national name and religion. Their own, not somebody else's, their own, not tribal, their own free national name and religion. When you come into the Moorish Science Temple, you proclaim your nationality. Once you proclaim your nationality, you get your first birthright, which is your religion, which is Islamism. And that is the practice of Islam. Not just the methodology, but the living of Islam. Because see, some of us will put on the robes and we'll put on the garb and we'll speak Arabic, but again, we go back to those principles that delude to slavery. Because one thing you have to know about the Holy Quran in Mecca, there was no Negro problem in Mecca. There was no Negro problem in Saudi Arabia. So you had to get a Holy Quran that will help you overcome your problems today. And of course, I'm doing a lot. I do a lot of teaching, and I don't want to bore you. I really don't want to bore you. But I want you to understand that Moorish science is not an alternative. It is the solution to the problem we suffer as a people. It is the solution that can help our youth. It is the solution that can help this nation. That's what Moorish science could do for us. So it's very, very relevant that you understand Moorish science requires a lot of studying. You don't walk in here all knowledgeable because start quoting the Circle 7. You have to start applying it, not quoting it, applying it. And stop trying to convince people they can learn more science outside the Moorish Science Temple. That's just like telling somebody to go to a shoe store and buy a dress. There is but one issue: for them to be recognized by this government and of the earth, it comes only through the connection of the Moorish Divine National Movement. Only through the Moorish Divine and National Movement. Didn't say government, didn't say treaty, didn't say sovereignty. It didn't say, it's so simple. It comes only through the connection of the Moorish Divine National Movement, which is what? Incorporated in this government and recognized by all other nations of the world. So you think maybe the world is waiting on us to raise our thoughts to infinite wisdom and to get this job done so mankind can have his salvation and humanity can be put on that solid rock of salvation? Come on now, what we doing here? Help me out. Then it goes on to say, so he has to put out a plea. He has to step outside of the Moorish Science Temple and start talking to other folks. Help me save my people who have fallen from the constitutional of the laws of the government. I am depending on you. I am depending on your support to get them back to the constitutional fold again. So if you're talking more science and you're not talking constitution, there's a problem. Or if you're talking more science and you're talking the 14th Amendment, there's a problem. I'm going to explain that to you in 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds. Act 6 says slavery was from 1779 to 1865. The 14th Amendment wasn't until 1866. See the signs here? I was talking to somebody earlier today and they was talking about the history of 1619. I had to tell them, that's a year off. It was actually 1620. And if I say it, trust me and believe me, I can prove it. So it goes on to say that I am depending on your support to get them back to the constitutional fold again, that they will learn to love instead of hate, and will live according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, supporting our free national constitution of the United States of America. So when we talk about the free national constitution of the United States of America, we're talking about 1774 and we're talking about 1865. Now, there are those who are going to try to convince you, and they're going to say, because remember, you're caught up in a conspiracy, whether you realize it or not, you're caught up in a conspiracy because they have been, since 1866, trying to make black legit, make Negro legit, make African legit, or at least make you think it's legit. Because as long as you think it's legit, they can keep partying on what actually belongs to you, your birthright, your land. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you home. Mm-hmm. And nobody brought you here on a ship. You've been here over 10,000 years. You home. Wake up. Sleeping in the house, taking a nap in your own land, not taking any accountability. Got you chasing that dollar so hard you can't even think straight. Hmm. Hmm. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Now let's go a little further. So we need to get to the free national constitution. How many of you know what that is? Do you know? We'll talk about it. Not today though. I love my people and I desire their unity and mine back to their own free national standard, because day by day they have been violating the national and constitutional laws of the government by claiming names and principles that are unconstitutional. What are the names and principles? Let's see. Let me see if I can help you out here. Let's see if I can help you out. Names and principles. Names: Negro, black, colored, African, darky, coon, shine, melanated, um, don't know if they use Haru as an identity. I'm not real certain about that, so I don't talk about what I don't know, and I'm not sure. I don't do that. But we have a lot of things. We've gone tribal. We're now trying to be the Aboriginal, uh, Native American. That's not our birthright. That has absolutely nothing to do with us. So, so we need to, one, proclaim our nationality as Moorish American. Two, our race is Asiatic. Three, the shade of our skin is olive, and I'm not talking about the green one. Um, Matter of fact, since I mentioned that, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to the screen, and I'm going to pull up something. Olive skin tone, and then I'm going to go to images. And I want you to see the different skin tones that's olive. Look at the olive look here. Look how dark that gets. Olive undertones. You know, y'all look at us like we really lost it. This is olive. The Asiatic race has olive shades of skin from the deepest to the lightest. See that? So you know, because I like us to be real correct. I don't want you to be um, caught up in an assumption. I don't want you to be caught up in a belief. I want you to be able to, let's see, look here, this is another one. See how dark that gets? And I just need you to be able to understand that olive is the Asiatic race, is olive. The whole race. And that means everybody on the continent of Asia, everybody on the continent of Africa, and all the surrounding islands are shades of olive. So just in case somebody wanted to go with the green ripe olive theory, I want you to know the world knows more about you than you know about yourself. Just wanted you, I thought I should just do that for you. Because when we teaching, you sometimes a little picture just does something for you, doesn't it? A little picture just does something for you. So from the deepest to the lightest olive. And guess what? We've been light olive before we met the European. Oh, some of us think we give the European too much credit. All right, let's go. Um, there's one other thing I would like to take you to because I want to give you a historical perspective now of let me see, Jefferson Davis Lusty Moore. Let's see if I can find this. There it is. Now you see this picture here? It comes from a book. Well, I first saw it in a book. I can't get it to open all the way up. In a book, um, um, The Critical Year. Oh no, The Tragic Era. And what it says is that the lusty Moor has taken my place. This is Jefferson Davis, dressed as Agio. And this is the brother who is sitting in the Southern Congress at that particular time. So just here and there, I'm gonna try to drop a little bit of things on you so that you can actually see and see how they word it. Now, see, nobody would you would know that said that little fine print there, and they said Lusty Moore. Let me see if I can enlarge it large enough for you to see. And then we're gonna look at what they actually say. Let's see. Let's see if I can enlarge it so that you can see what that So you see the brother. You get to see that. And okay, it says Agio Jefferson Davis. So I for that I do suspect the lusty Moor hath leaped into my seat, the thought whereof doth like a poisonous mineral gnaw at my inwards. So somebody knew we was Moors back then, huh? Think about this now. I just want you to think about this because everybody think the Moorish Science Temple made up the word Moor and put it on people who think they're black, but it's the opposite way around. So you just need to be able, because I want to give you some visuals. I know as a teacher, I know sometimes me just talking is just not enough. And since this is an interactive, because I'm a very interactive teacher, since this is an interactive, I thought I would just share this. And of course, as I said, you can find this picture in the book, The Tragic Era. But now, if I didn't tell you this, this is what you would hear. Time Works and Wonder, Antique, 1870. Thomas Nat Place, signed Image Large. Harper's Weekly Interior Page cartoon. Lampooning ex-president of the Confederacy, Jefferson Davis, at the seating of the first black U.S. senator. You wouldn't know that, would you? See? But the picture says more. But they pushing it off on you for blackness. Hmm. I had a good teacher. I just want y'all to know I had a really, really, really good teacher. So, let's go back. Thought that was commercial break, so to speak, so that we could just just to keep just a little interactive. You know what I'm saying? So let's go to the next paragraph, and then we have that big one, and I'll get to that in a minute. I love my people. I desire their unity in mind back to their own free national divine standards because day by day they are violating the national and constitutional laws of their government, claiming names and principles that are unconstitutional. It says if Italians, Greeks, English, Chinese, Japanese, Turks, and Arabians are forced to proclaim their free national name and religion before the constitutional government of the United States, it's only fair that it applies to everybody, wouldn't you think? If we were set free or went through an emancipation process, don't you think we would not be running around here trying to claim a color without proof, without evidence, without anything substantial to make it make sense? He says, there are but few people who know the truth about man, and that few know that it is foolish to try to impart it to the ignorant. Although the ignorant has finished college, he is a fool right on, being trained to jump through a hoop. Now let me make that make sense to you, because see, some people might, oh, he's saying I got college degrees, so that's not what he's saying. What he's saying is that you go through these schools, you get these degrees, and you only do what you're trained to do, and you never think outside that box. Just like with black, the sheer definition of black should make you not want to call yourself that. But we don't go by the definition. But anytime we need a word, we look it up in the dictionary. Maybe I should do that for you. Maybe that'll help. I'm just trying to get us to wake up because we sleeping on the job. I'm just trying to get us to wake up just a little bit. Can I do that? Is that okay with you? Aren't you tired of napping? It says that the time was and now is that there should come into the land a prophet in the likeness of his brothers to redeem them from sin and slavery. Truly, this prophet, Noble Drew Ali, is the man, bringing with him the message of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, which alone can save the nations. Not only will these principles help us, they will help the world universally. But we need to demonstrate. In order for people to understand, we got to demonstrate it. That means like we all got to come together, respect each other, work together. Let the prophet run the movement, and let us listen. How about that? So is that too simple, or is everybody just a little wiser than the prophet? I'm gonna take the humble path. It says the prophet said, "If I were you, I would get ready before you are made to do so. Now come and pick up your forefathers and mothers' ancient and divine creed, which carries your national name indeed. It will entitle you to your rights, which you have been denied because in 1774 your light was cut off from the ancient Moors, and that is why Allah has sent a prophet in 1886 to prepare the light that was out. In 1925, the prophet said, I have mended the broken wires and have connected them with the higher powers. So come on, Asiatics. Don't you want to go? We are marching on to Canaan. I used to think that it was a city in the sky, but now I know it is here on earth. Don't you want your share? Do good. This power is from Allah." So then we have to get into another aspect of this, and then we have to get into the aspect of the proclamations, because actual freedom day around the corner, and um, we usually go to DC, and I'm going to get better at this. I'm always trying to improve. I need to, and I know I do. But we're going to meet in Washington, D.C. We should flood Washington, D.C. with fezzes and turbans to let the world know that we are ready for a change. That's on us. We can't blame anybody else. That's on us. Let's see. We just a little more. These are trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they're trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation. And that's true. Is you got all these moles running around here knowing more than the prophet, know more about Moorish science, and they just know so much. They know everything but their own ignorance. They know so much, so very, very much. And yet we still sit here. I'm old enough to be tired. I just want y'all to know that. I'm old enough to be tired. But I know you have to use that dropping of the water. I don't want to overload you with a lot of information because I could, but I don't think that's going to help. Oh, well, let me rephrase that, with a lot of knowledge. I'm not a, I don't intellectualize, because intellectualizing can be a lie, just can be based on a lie. So I don't intellectualize. How do you know that? Because we got people with PhDs saying they're black. And I know in order to get a PhD, you have to write a paper. In order for you to teach African American history, you had that. Somebody had to write something. Somebody had to prove that. But it just happened. It said, but if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your profit. How many of us are willing to do that? I didn't say your grand sheik. That's not what I said. I ain't say your best friend. That's not what I said. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't even say that. It does not say your best friend. It does not say your grand sheik. It does not say your grand chicas. That's not what it says. It says, but if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your profit. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temples. Know your enemy. Hmm. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good works. Peace, your divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali. So, those are just a few quotes from the prophet that I thought were essential to helping us to understand the Moorish Science Temple is not an alternative but a solution. But you have to be willing to change. If your faith and your belief is in a system that you know, and I know most of us know, this system is unjust to us as a people. It's unjust because guess what it allows? Look what it allows our children to get away with. And they just keep running back and forth into that supposedly institution. They're warping their minds because you got old. I see. I'm gonna have to talk some of the stuff that I've learned. They've got old people out there encouraging these young people to commit crimes because they know they're going to get off easy. You think it's the children, but I can guarantee you, every time you see these children out here, it's some old person back in the back telling them they can get away with it. It's some old person back there providing them with guns because he's a coward. He's a coward and will sacrifice our children for his own selfish self. He ain't got the heart to get out there and do what he asked those children to do. He does not have the heart to do what he's asking these children to do. These children aren't making drugs. Somebody's giving it to them to go out there and do and give it to people. Stuff that's killing people. And we sitting back here talking about the children. You better go find them adults who are corrupting our youth. So there are some things I do want to share with you. I hope you can see this. See this? Yeah, you can see that. See that? I should have took the picture. But Ancient Forefathers Day is August 30th, 2025. Also, Marcus Garvey Day is August 16th. And I can't think of the name of the park, but they have it every year. I'll know by next week and I'll give you all the information. But Ancient Forefathers Day is August the 30th at Eager Park, 1044 North Durham Street, Baltimore, Maryland. It starts at 1 p.m. We're going to have culture, food, music. Our vendors are Urban Bibliophile Candle Company, Juice World Cold Pressed Juice, Baltimore Poppleton Community Farm, Be More Bites, Star Treatment 125, Argyle Caribbean Eats, and more. And it's from the Moorish Science Temple of America. And our locations are 1055 North Milton Avenue, Baltimore, Maryland 21205, 2900 Preston Street, Baltimore, Maryland, 3222 Bel Air Road, Baltimore, Maryland, 1401 Diggs, Suite F, in Raleigh, North Carolina. We have GG at S. Pearl Street, Albany, New York, 39 Hill Street, Troy, New York, 3480 Greenbrier Parkway South, Suite 225 8 in Atlanta, and 3114 3rd Street, 3rd Avenue, Richmond, Virginia, 114 West 5th Street, Chester, PA. So come on out, come on out. I'm gonna be, I might say some poems or something. So come on out, support me. No, I'm just joking. Come on out and support the temple. Come on out and let's network brotherhood, sisterhood together. I can't find the term I want right now. Um, it's essential that we support each other, and hopefully, I will see some of you moles on September the 27th. Um, as well as September the 21st, we will be doing Actual Freedom at 1055 North Milton Avenue. So I'm going to work on this some more so that when you have questions, I can answer them. But you know what? I'm getting more comfortable. The more comfortable I get, the better I'm going to get at this. And y'all, watch out. Y'all just don't know. It's going to get better and better. I'm going to have some music and everything. So, one of the things that I like to, oh, and I almost forgot my Holy Quran. Let me get my life together here. The Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple talks about redeem. Let me tell you how many times. Um, 9 times. We talk about redeem. Chapter 1, we talk about redeeming our birthright. Man will be restored his birth. It says, man will fully be saved and redeemed and perfected by the things he suffered on the plane of flesh and on the plane of soul. When man has conquered cardinal things, his garb of flesh will then have served its purpose, and it will fail and will be no more. Now, also understand there is a flesh divine, so don't go thinking you're gonna be floating around in the stratosphere. Okay, and then we have chapter 3. The only devil which man must be redeemed from is self, the lower self. Um, we have chapter 6, and it says, we call this child the day star from on high. He has come to bring to men a light, the light of life, to lighten up the way of men, and to redeem his people of Israel. Just a little bit about redeem. Chapter There will come a time when all these seven manifests be absorbed, and man and beast and plant and earth and protoplasm will be redeemed. Our redemption is affects a lot of things. Y'all know that? Because some people don't know. Jesus, seeking to redeem his people in those days from the pressures of the pale skinned nations of Europe and Rome, who crucified him according to their law. Jesus was on the mission of redemption too. Chapter 46. The holy teachings of Jesus was to the common people, to redeem them from under the great oppression of the hands of the unjust, that the rulers and the rich would not oppress the poor, also that the lion and lamb may lay down together, and neither would be harmed when morning comes. And the last prophet in these days is noble Drew Ali, who was prepared divinely in due time by the Allah to redeem man from his sinful ways and to warn them of the great wrath which is sure to come upon the earth. And I'm going to share out one more thing. And I'm going to go in here. And I want to go down here. I think, yeah, okay. So this is the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Circle 7. Divinely prepared by the noble prophet Drew Ali, by the guiding of his father God Allah, the great God of the universe, to what? To redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life with his father, God Allah. Now, I pray that I've given you a clearer understanding of redeem, and hopefully you now know that Moorish Science is not your alternative. It's not in lieu of Christianity. It's not in lieu of Hebrew Israelites. It's not in lieu of anything. It is the solution to the Negro problem slash mental slavery. See that sister right there? You see that sister right there? She coming out the cares of the world in the arms of the prophet. So when a prophet has to come and save the women, which is what Prophet Muhammad had to do, may the peace and blessings be upon him. He had to come and save the women. Baby girls being buried in the sand alive just because they were females, just because they were girls. And again, because I'm in certain groups and these brothers, they blame the women for everything. And I'm like, well, when do you take your accountability in the situation? But anyway, let us remember the Moorish Science Temple is here to redeem, restore, and pull our nation of people back to an upright standing position among the families of nations. And it can only happen through the Moorish Science Temple Divine and National Movement. And so, what I want to do is thank those who were able to tune in. I will rebroadcast this. You can go to my YouTube channel, which is the Science of Moorish Science, um, and just give me a follow. Help me grow my little channel, and let's make more science the salvation that it is truly meant to be. So, at this stage of the game, I want to invite you out for Sunday school here in Baltimore. Our classes are at Sunday school is from 12 to 2. That's at both locations, 3900 Preston Street as well as 1055 Milton Avenue, and Holy Night, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Same address, 3900 Preston Street, 1055 North Milton Avenue. And guess what? The Moorish Science Temple needs you. But guess what? You need the Moorish Science Temple. So I thank you and appreciate you for allowing me to bring to you The Moorish Light Continues. The Revolution is a podcast, divine and national instructions. Um, and I ask that you embrace the prophet, embrace Allah, embrace divine and national, embrace one another, and embrace the mission. And so, um, just before I close out for that final last word, I just want to once again remind you Ancient Forefathers Day, um, August the 30th, Marcus Garvey Day, August the 16th, um, Actual Freedom Sunday, September the 21st, and Actual Freedom Day, September the 27th. So I look forward to seeing you again next week. Same time, same station. And some of you, if you look, you're going to find I sent invitations out. So I will be reposting this. And I can't tell you how blessed we are to even have the Moorish Science Temple. But of course, you know what? Our time is truly, truly up. And I pray that you learn something because every time I teach, I do. So without further ado, I'm going to say peace